Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another podcast. We are currently live today. Today we are basically. Well, before we do that, introductions are always in order. I am the old hunter, owner of this lovely podcast.
Knight of Green, paleontologist, and Soulsborne martial arts recreator. Oh, and working on Demon Slice martial arts comedy series, animated. Yeah.
Mm. And I am your friendly neighborhood. I'm a voice actor for the Dark Souls comic book series War of the Ancient Dragons.
Yes, and welcome everybody. It's been a new podcast of the year, I would say. And I'm sorry about the late delays about everything. It's just because of, delays and all that. I wanted to do this last week, but certain things came up, sadly, which was unable for us to do it. Now that we are currently here, I wanted to just do a little bit of catching up before what happened last year. About considering the fact this is a Souls podcast and a lot of Souls things did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Sure did.
It did. So, at the early of last year, Eldenring graced the world with its presence, taking the game being seen by Landstorm. Correct, gentlemen?
Mm-hmm. It sure did.
Absolutely.
After, what was it, like 2-3 years of silence on From's part, and that basically we knew nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then February came out, and boom, everything changed forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
it sure did.
Yeah, it was basically like it was such an explosive thing that a that for the first 3 months people were complaining. Well, a lot of the Sony fans were complaining that it overtook Horizon Forbidden West as a talk about game because no one was talking about the game when it first came out. Remember that? Or do you?
Wow.
Yes, I sure do.
It's like wow, that was a pretty cool. And as the game went on, it grew more popular. It actually really outsold Call of Duty pretty quickly.
It sure did.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, wasn't it, for all of us?
Mm-hmm.
Especially
Yeah.
how usually Call of Duty gets released.
Every single year, and the fact that it's every single time, it's just the same garbage every single year.
Yep.
Didn't used to be like that, but yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh, that's true. That is very true. And then as time went on, quality of life improvements continued on for the entire series. In fact, it was such a huge success that other game developers were actually hating Elden Ring so much.
Yes.
they have a good game. Why can't we? It was so sad.
Yeah, it was kind of sad that basically like they were complaining like, fine, if you want to say that the quest designs in Elden Ring is intuitive and annoying because there's no
HUD.
no HUD to explain what quests you do and don't have. And granted, it would have been quality life improvements. A HUD would have been nice, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I will submit. But saying that the graphics were ugly, my dude.
Sounds like some hating right there over there. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes.
It's Hayden. Like it is Hayden. Like saying that the graphics were basically bad, and the fact that basically, we all agreed that at launch Elden Ring had serious performance issues.
Of course.
Expected, but nonetheless, it was a universal thing, wasn't it?
Yes, but the premise of it was so good, I played it nevertheless.
It's like, sure, it was but I think that's also a hallmark of how it's also a good game. Yeah, it had some issues, but if the overall experience was basically that good, you can overlook that, then the game must be doing something right?
Yes.
Let's see. There was also the fact that the people that were complaining about it were basically Horizon, 2 Sony developers, and an ex-Ubisoft developer.
Mm.
Yes, I know irony in that. And the fact is that 2 of them were working on worked on Horizon, and I would imagine they were rightly peed off that that their game basically didn't even get the recognition they thought it would. Because
Yep.
let's face it, I think they were banking that Horizon would have succeeded over Elden Ring because do you have any reasons why they thought that? Because I can't think of any.
Maybe they thought they were a bit more mainstream than like Elden Ring was or something.
A bit of a ballsy thing to say with only 2 IPs under your belt.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like really ballsy of you. Really ballsy. Do you think that you can even level up to the level of Elden Ring? That had more hype behind it than was, you would say, the most hyped game of the decade?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, shame though, right? Then And then as the years were trotting on, more and more people came out hating Elden Ring, basically saying, it's unintuitive, it's difficult. You know, the same old arguments, basically saying that...
We've been playing the same game.
I think this is the issue of that they want the game to be, not the word accessible, because I don't want to conflate accessibility with easy, but they want it to have a lower skill ceiling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, good.
What was it? This game, I can't play it because I have some sort of condition and I can't play it, and it's judging against me because I have this condition.
It's not that. Yeah. It's not that the condition. It's just that they don't have the skill level necessary, if you know what I mean. That they find they find it too difficult.
Oh no! I'm saying what they would say to justify why they can't get the skill.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I get what you mean. Sorry about that, my friend.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Yeah, no. And the fact is that I think that they realize that if the game is not I would always say then the game isn't meant for you. You know what I mean? If you can't find enjoyment of the high difficulty and the combat or whatnot, then perhaps the game isn't meant for you. Or, as someone else said, get good. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, get good, scrub. Always. It's always a fair response.
It's always a fair response, isn't it? You know what? I think this is the first time a Souls game, I would say, has ever hit the mainstream as it did. Not saying that Dark Souls wasn't mainstream, considering the fact it started a whole freaking new genre, right, guys?
Yes.
It's still second.
Careful. We don't want the... Apologies, I still have a bit of a stuffy nose from by me being sick a bit ago. Apologies. Anyway, then there was the fact that basically, like, all the drama llama with a lot of different YouTubers, especially with who shall not be named, of course. Yes, and the fact the drama llama, basically people are complaining, and a lot of people not even playing it, or just basically lying to basically prove a point that didn't exist. Like, the whole narrative people are saying is like, basically, Elden Ring doesn't have a story or narrative or dialogue. It's like, you didn't even play, but did you only play like the first 5 minutes of the game before quitting?
Yes.
Yes.
But what do you even say to that? Yes. I mean, you just say yes and move on.
My dude, there's story, there's characters, there's dialogue. Like, everything was said, it's just not blurted out, because you know why? It's a game.
I thought about saying because everyone that could practically blurt out the story is dead or like lost their mind.
That is also true. That's probably one of the main reasons. But at the same time, it's also a game. I think you should. It's like people always complain about Elden Ring. Always talk about the gameplay, the graphics, the story, the characters. But you know what they never talk about?
What?
The gameplay.
Oh, yes.
You noticed that, right?
Probably because they can't say anything on the game because they're bad.
Probably. But even still.
No. What was that? Remember that one guy who got mad because he attacked Vare at the beginning of the game? He got mad that Vare just started open up a can on him.
It's
like
you comprehend this gravity of this choice.
Oh yes, I'm sure that Hugh hitting him, realizing that basically, do not attack me because you'll regret it, and then basically continues to attack.
How dare the NPC absolutely destroy me? That's sad.
It's sad. I think most people could. I think I'm gonna go for a hunch here, and basically, I bet none of them could get past the tree sentinel, could they?
Yes.
Granted, I didn't get past it.
I mean, to be fair, Tree Sentinel, if you walk out the first time, Tree Sentinel, you'd be like, whoa there, pump the brakes, sir. Why are you this powerful?
Yeah. I think it was a lesson I learned pretty quickly. And I just realized, hang on, eldenring has a stealth mechanic. So, I just basically buckled it, squat down, and went around him till I reached the site of grace. I thankfully watched the E3. I watched a lot of the demos to understand it, so I got some good information, too.
Absolutely good information.
Yes, it was that. Let's see. And then suddenly, halfway through the year, God of War Ragnarok was announced and released, and I guarantee a lot of us were worried about how this would affect Elden Ring at the Game of the Year, wasn't it?
Yes.
I personally think if God of War Ragnarok released earlier in the year and people had more time to digest it, probably been more of a threat. But I feel it was too late for it to really be put its name in the hat. That's just how I felt personally.
Your thoughts, Darc?
Yeah, I see both of your viewpoints. One, it was kind of worrying because I thought critics would just suck it up like the new coming of Christ, but
yeah.
I also think that maybe that it was a little bit too late because it doesn't have time for it just to develop most of it, because some of the pacing within the story is a little bit rushed, especially with Thor and Loki, but
yeah.
That's spoiler warning. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my case. But I think Elden Ring had a lot of good things about it. The pacing of it was just beautiful, and not to mention, the story was also very intriguing.
That's true. But let's also not forget that. How do I put this? Let's also not forget that God of War was a more established franchise because there's God of. It's a more established franchise. It had a good following for a good while. Even to this day, it's still got a good following.
Yes.
And how after the high of God of War 4, I hate it when they just basically give it the name of the original. Don't you?
Yes. It's lazy.
Anyway, They should have just called it God of War 4. And then called God of War Ragnarok God of
War 5.
Or if God of War 4 Ragnarok or something.
See, I wonder if they did that because they wanted to distance themselves from the quote-unquote, I guess, misogynistic, toxic masculinity previous generation Kratos.
No clue. I'm not going to even go into that one. There's some things even I won't talk about on this podcast, and that's a bit too charged even for me.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not throwing my opinion. I'm just interested because just how the direction they go into how they are sort of build Kratos.
You could argue that it was basically let's just try, maybe because he was just the first game, just a generic angry guy. You know what I mean? So in the new games, they wanted to explore his character a bit more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they wanted to try something new.
Play some of the PSP games.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, then basically as the months continued on, it was a really heated discussion of basically about who's going to take top dog in the Game of the Years. And then it was the Golden Joystick Awards. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy that Miyazaki got that. I think he won something similar before. I can't remember it, but he won another award, but he won the Golden Joystick Awards for Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty impressive thing. I know it happens every year, but still, for Souls like that's really big news.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do we even call Elden Ring a Souls like?
They're all basically Souls games at this point.
Yeah,
I stopped splitting hairs. Miyazaki game with swords, Souls game.
Yes, and then basically it was like, my, and then it was closer and closer to December as the Game Awards was starting to heat up. There was basically discussions, like when remember when God of War, Elden Ring was actually nominated for best dialogue and story, narrative.
Yes, I very much do remember.
And holy cow, do you remember the Twitter storm it was?
Oh yeah,
how could
it was a hurricane up in there.
How could they nominate Elden Ring for narrative? It doesn't even have a story.
Yeah,
it does. What about Alexander the Jar? What about Melania Blade of Mikola? What about Scar Search for Dawn? What about Godric the Grafted? What about the Elden Beast? Or maybe just any other NPCs?
Forgive me, I should have added on to that. I should have said, but there's no cutscenes or dialogue. There's no cinematics in the game.
Yes.
Maybe it's because you haven't played the game long enough.
Yeah, because you always get the people that don't play. Again, as I stated in my previous comment, people who do play the games, but just who did play the games for like 5-10 minutes and just basically threw it out and said it's just the worst game ever because I kept dying to the Tree Sentinel, and so 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's like, my dude, I died to the Tree Sentinel like 5 times, and the first 5 attempts was me trying to fight the thing. Big mistake on my part.
Mm-hmm.
I think, then again, I think there was a big mistake on most of our parts, right, guys?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. First time thinking, come on. We all thought, I'm a veteran Souls player. This guy's gonna.
And then he wrecks us all.
Yes.
He plays on that familiarity. I'm a tough dog. I know what I'm doing. Are you sure about that, little man?
Are you sure about that?
And then, swoosh. And then basically, you just after you died the 50th time, you just basically say, "Screw it," and just try to go around and to get to the second point.
Let me get Torrent and let me come back to you. Okay, we'll continue this conversation later, sir.
Yeah, a good step. Oh boy, that was fun.
Yes.
Oh boy, and then after lots of, I guarantee you, there were a lot of bots who are probably. I don't want to play like I'm those Sony conspiracy theorists saying that it was rigged. I'm just saying, I'm just with the story and narrative about it, you can smell a bit of foul play. If you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because Oh,
what's that?
I think Darc's got something going on right now, so we'll continue talking.
He got.
Yeah. No, he's just heard a knock on his door. I heard a knock in the background.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So we'll just give him a few minutes. Anyway, so then basically it was just that boom, Game of the Year night. It was a super intense moment. Wouldn't you agree?
Agreed.
Yep, it sure was.
It was. I was just sitting, and I gotta say, moving on to basically what happened with a lot of game announcements, Armor Core 6, everyone.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think I only played one of the Armor Core. I liked it. It was pretty cool. Sadly, I was only borrowed from a friend, so I couldn't play it for so long. It was a pretty cool game, and I loved the idea of it. And I was actually one of the people thinking, that's a franchise that From will never take up because, it's not the moneymaker. But then, wowzers, E3, they announced, I meant Game Awards, they announced Armor Core 6 for the fans. Pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were saying?
So great.
Yeah, I mean,
so great to see a company love their IP so much. It's great to see that.
I'm curious though. I am definitely curious to whether they will basically revive some of their old franchises because we all know as Souls fans, Sekiro was supposed to be originally a
Tenchu, yeah, Tenchu,
Tenshu,
Shadow Tower.
A Tenshu sequel, but they just scrapped it and make it a spiritual successor to the Tenshu series. Which is
They also made Shadow Tower, and also can we have Ninja Blade?
let's not bring up that game. It's best we forget about it. You know what I mean? Yeah, hey, let's bring out two games that basically come out. One's a generic an action game, and the other is a revolutionary third-person action game. But also,
yes.
Let's not beat around the bush, everybody. As much as we love the series, Demon Souls was a bit of a failure.
No, it wasn't. Not in Western audiences.
Okay, not for the Western audiences, but it was a failure in Japan. If it wasn't for Atlas, we wouldn't have never gotten the series, don't you think?
I'm fully aware Atlas literally planted the seed and saved Souls games, because otherwise, imagine a world without Souls games. We'd just be sitting here with, hey guys, check out our Call of Duty platform.
We'd just be sitting here with just games that just have only cinematics and feel like playable movies. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I, for one, love the games that basically just... what's the word I'm looking for? That just have a good experience. Immerse you in a world without that much dialogue and make you feel like your character. Anyway, and then, after a long deliberation, listening to the final part, I'm skipping a lot of things because most of the things are irrelevant. So, but I think we could bring about how basically it was cool that Elden Ring won quite a few awards, correct?
Yes. Very much.
I'm kind of angry that it didn't win Best Narrative, but you got to take the wins where you can get it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least it won other good awards, which is kind of good. And then, after the grand finale, drum rolls, who would have won a Game of the Year?
Is Elden Ring!
Elden Ring!
Everybody in... Miyazaki, you could look at it. He had a genuine look of shock. Not bad shock, but surprise.
People voted for my ass.
Yeah. I gotta say, the presentation for the Game Awards that they showed was beautifully executed. The music when they were introducing all the games was fantastic. I think it was very well executed.
Agreed.
And we can also announce that From is the first game developer to win Game of the Year awards twice in a row.
Yes.
Wow. That's impressive.
Remember Sekiro won Game of 2019?
Yes.
Best way to close up a decade, if you ask me. Right?
Agreed. Agreed.
And then a few years later, Elden Ring won Game of the Year.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's just maddening to think that a franchise that most people considered us a niche thing to win 2 Game of the Year awards is just fantastic. Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it was a really wild time back in the day.
Yep. Sure was.
Realistically, I mean, who else would have deserved it? God of War? I guess. But outside of God of War, who else was in competition with Elden Ring for that?
It's Plague Tale Requiem.
Stray and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Horizon Forbidden West. And I think it was also Pokemon Arceus. I think it was. So two PlayStation titles, 2 Nintendo titles, an indie title. Would you consider Plague Tales as indie game or not? I can't tell.
I think so, maybe.
I think that's in the indie sector.
Okay, 2 indie games and what? And Elden Ring.
Uh-huh.
So, 7 games.
Yes.
I could be wrong by 1.
Mhm.
So, yeah, stiff competition, don't you think? But then again, who remembers Horizon Forbidden West?
I
Exactly.
didn't pay much attention to it.
Exactly. Pokemon Arceus and Xenoblades weren't really big around outside Nintendo consoles, I believe.
I mean, because they were only.
Yeah. Stray was actually an interesting contender because it was not like intense. It was more like casual, not casual, but more low intensity, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Plague Tale, I do not know how to describe that game.
It's easy. Rats.
Okay, that's basically it. But you can kill plenty of rats in Elden Ring, so.
No, it's just rats. It's just rats everywhere. Rats in the sky. Rat tornado.
Yeah.
A rat tornado. That sounds lovely.
Lovely. I was super tense. Like, I was thinking, please be Elden Ring, please be Elden Ring, please be Elden Ring. And every single Elden Ring fan just said, yes!
I bet you there were some pissed people there. I bet
There
the
were-
people at Santa Monica Studios were real pissed.
I think they were kind of angry that they were, because they thought their game was getting a lot of hype, they got a lot of awards, they said, yeah, we got this in the bag. And then suddenly came From, who beat them out.
And along came From, they hurled their awards.
And then the blade of Mikola slayed down the giant Santa Monica Studio beast, releasing the rod.
No, I'm just gonna tell you. Do you know how salty? This is how I know how salty Santa Monica is. After the Game Awards thing, they updated like their what was it, like a promo thing for God of War, and they listed all their awards. I was like, do you know what's not up there? Do you know awards not up there?
Yeah, that is a bit on the bitter side, saying, hey, we won these Game Awards. And, oh boy, do I need to tell you about the amount of salt PlayStation fans were having it after Elden Ring beat out God of War? I think the Aftermath show was plenty of enough.
Especially
Absolutely hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Like there was the YouTuber, the Amazing Lucas. I only found him recently. I talked about Darc about this last time before the end of the year, after the whole victory for Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, just a cringe. I hate to use the term, but racist guy. Watch his stream. He was confident enough saying, "Let's watch God of War beat Elden Ring."
Oof.
Mm-hmm. He was banking on Elden Ring, and then when he saw that he was banking on Elden Ring losing, and when he saw it won, he couldn't believe it. He complained that it was just rigged, that the Game Awards are cheating. Yeah, it was. Where were you last time when your favorite IPs like The Last of Us, God of War, basically won? And I didn't hear you say it was cheating.
Yes.
Salty. Oh, speaking of The Last of Us.
Yes, I forgot to mention that we have in the tradition of our podcast, because we always do an article because we just love dissecting these, don't we?
Yes.
I found an article that, if you didn't know, Knight, currently Elden Ring has beat The Last of Us 2 with the most awards given.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and predictably, before you bring that up, Darc, I will let you know. Predictably, people were on Twitter, PlayStation fans, were basically complaining about how this was unfair, that basically it's unfair because Last of Us 2 has better graphics, better story, better narrative, blah, 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 but you know how they always miss the gameplay. Let me say a controversial opinion, may I? It's my podcast, of course I can say it.
Yeah, sure.
Even if he didn't, I would have said it. He's my podcast. The Last of Us 2, if you want a zombie apocalypse scenario with interesting characters, go watch The Walking Dead. The only difference is that... Oh, yes, I basically opened that beehive, didn't I?
I can hear all the zombies trying to crawl up right now.
I guess because they're gonna... Oh, come on. The Last of Us could work as a TV show or movie. Actually, I just realized they just released the Amazon series, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
No, HBO. The HBO series. Well, good luck on me watching it because I don't have HBO, so...
Mm-hmm.
You guys gonna watch it or skip it?
Skip.
So we have 3 skips here. Yeah, I'm gonna skip it. Not worth my time. Yeah, people say it, but you shouldn't. But you should. People always tell me that you shouldn't be so harsh about it. It's a generic zombie apocalypse movie where everybody is horrible. I think we've seen that plenty of times in other series, haven't we? Because it always breaks down to the theme that basically humans are horrible and that the real monsters are us. It's always what it breaks down. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's pretty...
Mm-hmm.
Cut and draw. But anyway, you have an article. I showed you. I have an article I posted. Do you mind sharing it, my friend?
Sure thing. We are live.
Apologies, I ate some spicy dinner a bit ago.
Mm-hmm. So, our article here from GameRant.com. I see here is this article. So, our article states here that Elden Ring beats Last of Us 2's Game of the Year record. From Software's open world epic, Elden Ring beats Last of Us 2 to become the game with the most Game of the Year awards in history.
By just one award, mind you.
Yes. Elden Ring has surpassed The Last of Us 2 to become the game with the most Game of the Year wins in history. From Software's open world epic, released last year to near universal critical acclaim, hailed as one of the best video games ever made, even with stiff competition from the likes of PlayStation exclusive God of War Ragnarok, Elden Ring has managed to take home more Game of the Year awards than any other title that was released in 2022.
I love it how they basically omitted the Horizon Forbidden West. I love it how they basically omitted that one.
Yeah. The ball got rolling on Elden Ring's Game of the Year wins when it won Game of the Year at the Game Awards 2022. In the wake of Elden Ring's Game of the Year victory at the Game Awards, various other publications named it their Game of the Year as well. Assuming the math is right, Elden Ring has won Game of the Year a whopping 324 times, beating the previous record that was set by The Last of Us 2 in 2020.
Like, can we just say that it wasn't really hard, to be honest?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't play it, but I decided to buzz around with the community for a little bit. Yeah, I had to have a hazmat suit on with me. The Last of Us 2 is one of the most divisive games for The Last of Us fans. Like, It is literally split down the middle. You have people who say it's bad, you have people who say it's deep and meaningful, you never have anybody in the middle. And people on Twitter have been complaining, wait till The Last of Us 3, Last of Us Part 3 gets announced and published. It'll beat Elden Ring next time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not holding my breath, considering the fact that the director and developer didn't make the game to have fun. Over the game for...
I said
Ugh, indeed. Anyway, continue.
The Last of Us 2 set the world record for the most Game of the Year wins when it won 322 wins in the 2020. This means Elden Ring has narrowly defeated Naughty Dog's acclaimed game by 2 Game of the Year victories. This is all according to users from Restera, as spotted by Games Radar, who tallied up Elden Ring's Game of the Year victories. Now, it's worth pointing out that the recent records set by The Last of Us 2 and Elden Ring should have an asterisk next to them. While it's true that they both technically had more Game of the Year awards than any other game in history at the time they released, they also had the opportunity to get more Game of the Year awards than previous games. There are many more gaming publications now than there were in the 2000s or 90s. And so those older games really didn't have a fair shot at earning this record or maintaining.
Aww.
It's difficult to say. I know this is a very short article, but it was a short to the point that we were basically having a discussion on this one. Sorry for the short article, guys, but it's still poignant.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, there's no denying that The Last of Us 2 and eldenring are landmark game releases. There are many big games releasing in 2023, and so it will definitely be interesting to see if any titles manage to give Elden Ring a run for its money, or if From Software's open world Souls-like will be able to hold on to its new title for some time to come. In the meantime, those that have yet to try Elden Ring for themselves should note that the game is still receiving updates, with From Software just recently issuing an update that expanded the PvP experience.
Gee, a developer So going right.
You said arenas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gee, a developer that actually shows love and compassion for its series and basically shows that if it has a dedicated fan base and treats its fan base very well, that it will show dedication and love to the game. Gee, I wish more developers would actually take notice from, right, guys?
Yeah. And I also noticed that the Colosseums and such are basically open now in the open world of Elden Ring. And that was so nice, because before they were all closed off. But now you can open.
Or basically for DLC, but let's be thankful that From were kind enough to just give it as a free patch.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the DLC. Thanks.
Anyway,
yeah, I'm still waiting for the DLC too.
You can close
I think it's going to be great. Now.
Are you still streaming? Or because I left the stream?
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Is there another article you want us to read, or is this it?
That was it. I just wanted to bring that up because it was going to the point right now of basically of how, as I said before, this is basically causing a lot of the Last of Us 2 fanboys are just basically part 2. Forgive me. We're basically just angry because,
They sure are.
You know how it is, right, guys?
Of course. Of course.
They're just so desperate for their I think they're just trying to show that, hey, our games are good too because we have a great narrative and story. Yeah, but did you forget another thing that's always important for a game?
Gameplay.
Correct. I'm sorry if I'm going to harp on it forever, guys, but I think when you're playing a game, you're going to have gameplay. And let's face it, The Last of Us 2's combat system is as bog standard as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I know what
people
and people are gonna say, but the Souls combats are all the same.
No, they're not.
If you're saying Dark Souls 1 and 2 are different, and 2 is different from 3. And Bloodborne is different from 1, 2, and 3. Sekiro is different from Bloodborne, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3. And Elden Ring is different from Sekiro, Bloodborne 1, 2, and 3. Because so the way I would put it to the people who are not reckoned to the Souls fans, so basically 1 and 2 are their own similar enough. Then came Bloodborne. Dark Souls 3 took a little bit of aspects of Bloodborne and having a faster combat style, which we can all agree, correct?
Yes, very much.
Combat style. Sekiro decided to take things more in a more parry aspects of things, are basically more about timed blocks and counterings, and basically lowering your opponent's staggering and having a jump button, because I know it's standard for other games, but having a jump button in a Souls-like is almost a godsend.
Yes.
Because, let's face it, all of the Souls games before Sekiro, the jump button was just horrible.
Absolutely.
L3 to jump or double tap the dodge button. Are you mad?
Yes.
No, we're From Software. and then came Elden Ring, who basically came about of what was it again? Yes. Basically having the aspects of taking everything from everything, so basically having the more faster combat from Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, along with the jumping mechanics as well as the staggering system from Sekiro, binding it in a nice big stew, throwing a bit of an open world aspect to it, and voila!
Mm-hmm. A
Eldenring.
beautiful, beautiful stew.
Mm-hmm. The Last of Us is just basically dirty, depressed people just being miserable.
Yes. I mean, what do you say to that? Except yes.
Yes. It's like... Am I right?
Yes.
You sure are.
You can't disagree with me, guys. It does bring more fun conversations for the record.
I mean, I feel like, okay, I just feel like there's not, I mean, okay, what would I disagree? Oh, no. I don't know. Probably the only thing I'll disagree on is I'm just a Demon Souls diehard, so anybody disrespect Demon Souls, I'm just gonna be like, meh. My
I want to just...
That's something in which I'll disagree.
I just want to put it out there because I don't want people to get the impression that we all are just saying we're all agreeing with each other. So I just want to preface that we do disagree with each other. Everyone who's watching, we just have more in common than we have more in disagreement.
Yeah, we do.
I was about to say I would agree with that. Yeah, probably agree with more than we disagree with. Realistically,
that's the nature of podcasts, right? You just get people.
Oh,
of course.
Oh, speaking. Well, no. On one point, funny thing that you mentioned about the jump button, how Souls games, integrated like its own dedicated jump button, while God of War lost the dedicated jump button.
That is true.
I
was playing God of War 3 a few days ago. I was like, wait, Kratos can double jump?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember playing God of War 3 and he could double jump, and then I realized, why can't I jump in the game? Right?
Maybe he's too old, doesn't feel like it. He's like, whatever.
Yeah.
He's too old and crotchety, that's why.
That's why he doesn't jump anymore.
Boy, I'm too tired to jump and such. Could you please help me?
But I don't want to sound like we're dumping on God of War. I want to say congratulations. Oh, by the way, you're still streaming. Just letting you know.
I know.
Okay. I want to just letting you know in case you don't know. I would just say congratulations to the voice actor for Kratos for getting the best voice actor.
Yeah, Christopher Judge, you are amazing.
Christopher Judge, you did a fantastic job. Basically, just being the best voice for Kratos.
Yeah,
thumbs up
and
to
being
you.
a good father. And being a good father.
Yeah, considering the fact he didn't ever... I believe it was true that he didn't want anything to do with video games before that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, it's always good to get out your comfort zone, right?
Yep, it sure is.
Look, I'm still mad he never gave Atreus the Belt of Chaos when Atreus started having teenage angst moments. Boy, get your behind over here!
Boy, I do not appreciate this. I'm getting the belt.
Oh my god.
Yes. But anyway, back to the point. Yes. Back with The Last of Us 2, just before I forget again. It's like it's kind of getting predictable at this point, isn't it? Elden Ring does something excellent that people love, and then everybody else saying that it's bad because it's a Souls-like.
You know what? You know one of the things that I will say that's sort of like kind of hilarious. Mm-hmm. How many people hate a Souls game that's actually beaten a Souls game outside of Dark Souls 2? And I feel like people only like Dark Souls 2 because they like other Souls games.
And I don't like Dark Souls 2, and I like other Souls games.
Yeah.
No, but, okay, outside of Dark Souls 2, which I'll make that exception because Dark Souls 2 has its ways. How many people have beaten a Souls game and actually says, I completely dislike the experience?
Anybody who says that, please comment down below or raise your hands.
Like, I'm genuinely curious. Because I feel like most people say they don't like Souls games, probably spend 2 hours at most, and the basic enemy kept on killing me. They're cheap. I don't like this game. This game's bad.
Imagine them at a Smash competition. Bro, why are you fighting me? It's a fighting game.
It's a Souls-like. It's supposed to basically it's basically supposed to get the big hammer and keep smashing until you get good, son.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I get it. People saying, the whole get good mentality is just basically toxic. It's not. Well, it depends on how you say it. Like, it depends where it comes from.
I feel like there's a way to say it that makes it sound really toxic, but then there's also ways to make it encouraging. Like, I feel like get good is a very neutral statement, but you can say it in ways that make it toxic or not.
If you say get good, scrub, okay, you're getting toxic. I just say you gotta get good, mate. You gotta get good or get good. If I said get good, I'm being neutral. But if I'm saying you gotta get good, my friend, you gotta get good, I'm being more encouraging.
There are ways that you can go about to try to talk about Elden Ring and such, and one of them is definitely not saying Elden Ring really sucks, and anyone who says that otherwise is a fool. Versus, I wasn't very that much of a big fan of Elden Ring because I felt it was a bit too hard. But I am outside of the fandom and such, and I would like to know your opinions. See, which one do you hate more?
I prefer that one because at least you can say you show some respect to the fan base, saying, okay, so I can understand. I would probably say, and a decent person would probably say that, okay, I can understand that the game isn't meant for you. I'm sorry that you couldn't enjoy it. It truly hurts my heart that you couldn't experience a great game. It truly does.
Did you try Spirit Summons?
or that. I could basically say, tell you what, there is a way you can make things a little easier for yourself. Try summoning some help, or I can help you play for a bit. With you to play with you for a bit. Having a hard time with a boss.
But once you get Melania, you're going to have to figure out how to dodge waterfowl dance, because otherwise we're not going to get past this.
I cannot for the life of me figure out the path. I agree with some people who say that move is fit more for Sekiro than Souls.
Well, okay, no, Melania does have, so looking at, like, a lot of the things, like, for example, Melania can cancel attacks. That's the Sekiro thing. Melania can parry you, or it's more like a deflect, same like how the enemies can. That's what Sekiro enemies can do. Melania can randomly just get hyper armor on attacks, and sometimes just doesn't. That's what something Sekiro enemies can do.
I have a spurious unresearched feeling that Melania was supposed to originally be Tomoe. Because
I agree. Absolutely.
It's like From was actually going to do a DLC for Sekiro, which we wanted, by the way. But they thought, we have this leftover character design we did for not doing a DLC. From Sekiro was successful. People would have bought the DLC.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, so they had the leftover character design for a botched DLC they had planned for Sekiro, and they thought, let's give it to Elden Ring and basically see if it's a proof of concept. It would work. It would have worked better in Sekiro, not in Elden Ring. You know how it's tradition in Dark Souls that basically the main bosses are difficult, but the DLC bosses are extremely hard.
Yes.
I am dreading if Elden Ring gets a DLC. I am dreading what sort of final beast is going to be for that DLC. If Melania is the hardest boss in the main game, I'm dreading the DLC. You can see
I am Mikola. Melania's better. I'll be like, oh no.
I am Marilyn. I am the blade of the Mikola's right hand. You killed my sister. Prepare to die.
I'll just turn off the... Or same thing with what they did with the Godskin duo, how you fight each of them individually. Radon and Melania said, hey, you go into a timeline where they call a truce, and they come and open up a can of whoop on you.
Yeah, it's in the middle of their fight and such, and then they see you be like, oh, it looks like we have an intruder.
I am dreading whatever DLC bosses From has planned for Elden Ring. If Mikola is that tough, I'm dreading the DLC bosses.
If it's Mikola and Melania, I would cry.
If the rumors are true that what was Melania's brother Mikola? If the rumors are true, these speculations are true from the entire fan base, that we might go into Mikola's dream, we will be seeing this interesting, wouldn't we?
Not ready. I'm not ready.
None of us are. None of us are considering how difficult the game's going to be with.
Oh, I'm most certainly ready. I just know that I'm gonna die. I'm bracing for it.
I'm already accepting that we're just gonna die. Is this just sort of the way things are around here? Is that fun? It's like, oh no, it's gonna be real hard. Yeah, it's just the way things are around here. You just gotta just accept it or move on. That's how it is with Soul.
It's gonna be a nightmare, isn't it?
Yes, it very much is.
No, it might be a thing. Was in Dark Souls 2, there was one boss that summoned another boss.
You're streaming
Mikola
Elden Sorry,
Yes.
I didn't realize that. Apologies.
Man, what if Mikola summons Melania, except Melania's cured of rot, and so it's now like pure Melania,
I don't
and
know.
she's faster and stronger than rotted Melania. Just
Don't kill Patches.
Oh, I know.
don't kill Patches.
I know, weird statement.
To be fair though, funnily enough, you can try to one-shot Patches. He'll survive a one-shot.
Really?
Yes, you can try to run. He'll survive a one-shot.
Anyway.
Just FYI, if you have a one-shot build, you can one-shot him, but he'll survive it. If you hit him again though, he dies. If you blow on him, he'll die.
I am so glad that I'm kind of glad that From isn't so against the idea of basically people streaming the games, especially on YouTube. So thankfully, I won't be getting a copyright strike.
See, what I like about FromSoft, you can put all their music and everything, and they don't get mad at you.
Yes.
That's true. That's very true.
Unlike Nin.
Now, what I can also say is that I'm very glad they have patches in every type of From Software game. I am very happy with that.
Except Dark Souls 2, but Dark Souls 2 has
Pate.
Well,
8.
Actually,
Yeah, they just have Pate. Though, to be fair though, Patches is in Armored Core, so what? Imagine seeing Patches in Armored Core. Be like, hey guys, remember we?
He probably will be, so let's not hold our breath on that part, shall we?
yeah.
I mean, again, his first appearance was in Armored Core, so
And he's had the same voice actor for every single time.
Yes. Absolute mad lad that guy is.
Yeah, I think he loves Patches. It's fascinating as we watch the game and how it's just like had small tweaks over the time because it actually was a work of love and not money.
Yes. It's an actual beauty thing made of art. That's not rushed.
And see, no, this is also a thing that I appreciate with Miyazaki. Like, most people, they make games, like you said, money, all this stuff. But Miyazaki made his games based on a feeling. How, when he was learning English, I'm not sure how well he knows English, but, like, he would read, like, fantasy stories, and, like, his English was, like, pretty limited. So he had to, like, fill in the blanks and, like, be basically like a lore theory. Imagine reading Arthur, except made, like, in a Souls game format of, like, you only know X, Y, Z, but you don't know, like, A through the rest of the letters.
Didn't they make a tabletop role-playing game for Dark Souls and whatnot, I believe?
Yes.
I believe so.
That's gonna be fun.
Yes, very much.
I feel like you're gonna die a lot.
You died. Yeah, I think this is the motto we should put above our heads every time. You died. I don't know. It's just when we gotta look.
I mean, how can you say this game is like has bad graphics? It's beautiful.
Let me turn up the graphics a little bit on my end. Then it looks a little compressed.
Let me think. What? Okay, no. Okay, let me think about areas in Elden that are deliberately ugly that I think are ugly. Lake of Rock.
Ugly.
It's just ugly.
Yeah, but it's. Well, what do you expect without the obligatory Dark Souls-like poison area, right, guys?
I mean,
yes.
I feel like there's more tactful ways of doing it. Lake of Rock is just red splotch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Blighttown, even as low frame rate as it is at least like Rickety City over Lake.
Can we not bring up Blighttown back? Because my first Souls experience was basically not a positive one with that damn thing. And when I got the remastered, I was basically holding my breath.
You can skip all of that freaking thing if you really want it.
I didn't know that till my later playthroughs.
I do. You can just skip over all of Blighttown. Just like go straight to Quelaag and be like, hey, yeah, the rest of your area is BS.
Keep the swearing to the minimum. YouTube's algorithms are more. Ugh. I like to swear, but right now we can't because YouTube's being a bit on the iffy side right now.
Yes.
I'm more than happy to move my podcast to Twitch, but then again, I won't have them archived. So,
Oh, I mean, you can archive them and then bleep it out in like post editing.
do you want me? Yeah, spending like we will.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying that would be.
I know. It's just I'd rather be safe than sorry sometimes because it'll be like I have an entire hour or more to basically bleep out, so it's not going to be exactly
fun to do constantly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to be basically just make it easier for everybody, including myself. Am I being a bit lazy? Yeah, you can say that, but honestly, I'm being smart. Anyway, looking back on this game, I can't imagine people calling it ugly. I mean, yeah, it's not like triple super detailed, say like Horizon, where you can see Aloy's stubs, but at least it looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We can see Aloy's facial hair. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if they gave any Souls games to Bluepoint and Bluepoint said we're gonna go all out,
yeah,
oh my gosh,
I think I would need a super
all out.
If
they went all out in Demon Souls,
absolutely all out.
if they just true, and like honestly, I'm still one of the guys hoping that Sony, why don't you give Bloodborne to Bluepoint and release it on PC?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. No, absolutely. That would be, I think, the next coming of Christ if that happened.
60 FPS, updated Bloodborne graphics.
PC compatible.
And you know how the blood effects on the Bloodborne were beautiful?
Oh yes, very much.
Imagine it remastered for I can't even say it because it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Oh come on! Come on! I'm right.
Yeah, I know. I'm basically just thinking about it, and boy, oh boy, it seems like a wild thing of them think of, but man, I want it to happen.
Yeah, it'd be so fantastic. And unfortunately, Sony treats Bloodborne like the redheaded stepchild. And yes, I made a redheaded stepchild joke in 2023.
See, I feel like the issue with Bloodborne is not necessarily Bloodborne's issue. I think Sony's like, wait a minute. I feel like the more they acknowledge Bloodborne, the more they're gonna realize they made a mistake with Demon Souls. I feel like that's just sort of this type of situation. It's like this thing reminds us that we could have owned all the Souls game on.
Yeah. If Ken Kutaragi, the father of the PlayStation, remember he was the one who called Demon Souls ugly.
Yeah.
Remember?
Souls games would have been Sony exclusive games if Sony didn't drop the ball on that one.
Yeah.
And for better or for worse, I appreciate that because I realized that the Souls games wouldn't have gotten big, and they probably would have gotten Game of the Year or Elden Ring if that mistake wasn't made. Because realistically, with Elden Ring hitting the audience it does, that wouldn't have been accomplished if it was a Sony exclusive.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course, I know.
Yeah, as he's playing PC Elden Ring.
I'm also playing with a mouse. I'm not good with mice.
Fair enough. Anyway, the point, it's just like funny. Sony basically didn't imagine. We have to also be thankful that that Demon Souls was just a failed project to begin with, and that if it succeeded, when it was developing, it was basically.
Oh, it was developing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a failed project when it was developing. Miyazaki just took over because he thought, if I succeed, cool. If I fail, no one would know who I am.
Without Demon Souls, we wouldn't have Dark Souls. So I'm very, very thankful for Demon Souls.
And without Dark Souls, we wouldn't have the Souls-like series.
Yeah.
It's funny that it's still being debated. Is it Souls-like or Souls-Z? Because either player uses either one, right?
Souls-Z? Really?
Yeah,
people use Souls?
Yeah.
Okay, Soulsy sounds like a nickname.
Or Soulsy sounds like something you'd listen to in elevator music. Next up is the Soulsy music, please.
Why do I feel like that would be something that would be on like an Undertale or Deltarune type of thing? Like I feel like that would be a term used in that.
Maybe. Possibly.
Are any of you guys fans of those types of games or no, not really?
Oh, I played Undertale. I loved it.
Okay.
So yes, I played Undertale.
Deltarune is, I believe, the first 2 chapters, which are the only ones available, are free on PlayStation. If you want to try those,
You can download Deltarune on. Oh yeah, you gotta basically download it on his website. But it does set off the antivirus, doesn't it? It tricks the computer thinking it's a virus. If I'm correct.
I did on PlayStation on the PS5. It didn't have any issues.
But
PC,
huh?
I did on play. You can do it on PlayStation. I don't know about on PC if it does anything like that.
Well, I didn't play it, but I remember people were saying that it's not gonna do anything bad to your PC. It just has a thing where it just tricks the computer's antivirus program, thinking it's a virus. That's what I heard. I could be wrong. Actually, one thing I just remembered why people were also complaining was that both Horizon Forbidden West and this game was that basically Horizon had climbing mechanics and Elden Ring doesn't. Therefore, Horizon's superior.
Climate mechanic?
Climbing mechanic?
Have you never seen the rain in this game?
Climbing mechanics?
Like, basically...
has climbing mechanics. Just was more so platforming, but I would consider it climbing.
They also said that Horizon has better platforming than Elden
Ring. Press X to doubt.
Yeah, press X to doubt on that one.
I love that thing. And I just love it how it's press F for respect.
Working on the tires, that's what always took.
Let's see. They were saying Horizon Forbidden West, and does a game really always need climate mechanics? Does it really always need it?
No, not really. It really doesn't.
Depends on what if the game's like Mountain Climber Simulator, I would imagine it would probably need it.
But this isn't Mountain Climbing Simulator, it's Elden Ring.
Yeah, I mean... Actually, no, you do climb some mountains. You climb some Mineshaft of Moria. You climb Mount Doom. I mean, Mount Glimmer, whatever.
They were thinking more along the lines of basically you latching onto the side of the mountain and start making your way up.
Elden Ring has climbing mechanics. Climbing ladder is climbing mechanics.
Yeah. Maybe
something that 42 lacked.
Let's see. They were also complaining about how they also said that Horizon Forbidden West also had some more. Did also have build variety compared to Elden Ring.
I feel like Elden Ring would have build variety if there was things that was if everything was more balanced, but it does. Just everyone wants rivers of blood, things of death.
But the idea is basically you can play Aloy who's traps, who's bows, or whatnot. So you could also do that in Elden Ring and more. Plus, you could also change the weapon arts of certain weapons if you wanted to work differently. You could also... Yeah. So or
you could just rivers of blood and just,
yeah, I know. It's a joke in the community that right now the river... Okay, I'm curious. Would you consider the Elden Ring community part of the Dark Souls, Bloodborne's? Because this is just weird that we have to separate from the community.
I would say most people that are pioneering and leading it are probably Souls veterans. Most I feel like there's a lot of other people joining in. Don't get me wrong, that are not Souls players. So I've been watching people this is my opinion of Elden Ring and not being a Souls player. So I would say most people that are Souls players are pioneering the community, but there's still a lot of people that aren't, and that's fine by me. Because my brother never really played a Souls game, and he played Bloodborne for a bit, but he played Elden Ring. He beat it 5 times. Then again, he literally just used the most overpowered weapon arcs and summons. It was this is a fun game. He got mad at me. He's like, "Why are you using a basic broadsword to fight Mulaney?" I was like, "You don't understand.
You don't understand.
I've used this broadsword since 2009. I will keep on using this broadsword."
Another news for quickly relationship that I've recently want to talk about on my side of my channel. I recently watched the new Nier Automata anime. Shocker, I know.
That was good.
Well, then please tell us your thoughts on it.
I'll try not to spoil too much because I might want to save it up for my review, but my basic thoughts, it's very confusing. I wouldn't say confused, not confusing.
Mhm.
I'll elaborate. It's just like, okay, we all know that Nier is first and foremost a video game series, correct? I think we all know at this point.
Mhm.
And we all both know that that it has multiple endings depending on the situation.
Yes.
Yes.
Question: how do you implement that into an anime?
Good question.
Answer: at the end of at the end of the first episode, they basically showed puppets, live action puppets, and no, I am not making this up. I swear, they used live action puppets to explain the different endings, and they basically did the self-destruct ending at the end of it. So my theory, this is just me reaching out my lucky you. This is just me reaching out my little hand out there to thinking that this series is gonna basically try to talk about each ending at the end of it, out by alphabetically order.
Mhm.
Except maybe the ending's E because that's one of the I can't. Oh my god, it's been forever. But I think minus the true ending of the series of the game. That's it, but this doesn't exactly make me happy, guys.
No, I can see why.
No, not that. Not what you're thinking. It's that the fact that Nier is getting an anime series, and what do we get as Elden Ring as Souls fans?
Castlevania.
Good joke, but no, a comedy manga.
Yes.
Well, at least if it's drawn really well, I won't complain that much.
One of the panels was about who is one of Ronnie, the witch guy.
Oh, Ronnie?
No, but her servant, the guy with the creepy mask.
You mean the wolf mask?
Not the wolf mask, the one with the big hat and the face.
Oh, that one.
The one that you to basically make Ronnie drink a specific elixir. Anyway, there was actually a panel of the two of them complaining which Ronnie looks best. Ronnie is the classic one or Ronnie in a maid outfit.
Yeah.
Well, I can see the franchise has its priorities in check.
Priorities, indeed. The fact that basically, what do I think of Ronnie when you first hear of her? Mysterious, cold, distant. No,
Maid outfit. Maid outfit? Yes.
Yes, it's a maid outfit. Oh, and you know what class? It's the class that basically starts you off with no equipment.
That would be.
What, the brave?
The brave.
Waste the skin?
Yeah, the brave.
Yeah,
the brave.
the brave.
Yeah.
The main character basically starts as the depraved class.
Absolute Chad. Absolute Chad. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's absolute Chad. And then basically it was Melania I think it was Melania chastising him, thinking that he shouldn't have done that. Yeah, we really
Don't tell me how to play the game. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, we really.
My mom.
You know what? Why don't you just play the night class? That's what almost everybody plays as a beginner class.
No. I need to make it difficult on me.
Okay, I get it that as Souls players, we talk about that we know we're always underpowered. We all know that. But why use the depraved class to emphasize that? He could have still been like why not go for the Don Quixote effect? Make him a knight but a bumbling fool. Fine, would have been funnier. I guess because Don Quixote's been done 1,000 times, and what's the fun in it, right? No, we gotta make him a waste of skin.
Yes.
Look, people have been saying that you're taking it too hard, but this isn't. I know, but this is for me like basically just a slap in the face.
Oh, you're not wrong there.
Right.
Come on, guys. Like, come on. No, I'm not talking to you guys. Like, I'm just thinking, like, come on. This is like, I don't know, for an example. I know. This is just like The Last of Us 2 they made a comedy comic book. You know they would basically just go jumping off the edges right now. You know what? You know that, right?
Yes.
You want me to say it, Darc, or should you?
I think you should.
You died.
Thank you. He said the line. He said the line.
Oh, congratulations on some. Oh, never mind. Forget about that. Anyway, the point I'm trying to say is that. Oh, the jellyfish.
Yeah, jellyfish.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that basically, is that we. You know, if they were going to do an adaptation, why not do something like Berserk? Perfect fit, in my opinion.
Oh, Berserk noise intensifies.
Yes, I'm sure if I could play the song right now, I'd put it up quite high. But I can't due to copyright issues.
Copyright, yes.
I would have said this. The music industry really needs to work on its copyright issues because this is ridiculous.
Yes.
If you're going to say no, please say no. I don't...
No, you're just spitting out true facts, my... Oh, that's a giant crab.
Like, why would we say no? That's like saying the sky is blue. No. Well, what color is it?
It's a reflection of the water?
Yeah, I was about to say baby blue or something. I don't know.
Black.
Like, it's like you're asking us to disagree with something that I don't know how you want. What do you want us to say? What?
Sorry about the sudden light gone. The light's getting a little hot. I want to just turn it down. But you can still see me, right, guys? Fine?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
Yes.
Darc's doing his yes better than me doing my own yes.
Sorry, I'm focused right now. I'm fighting an invader.
I love you guys. You're just so fun to be podcasting with all the time. Anyway.
I appreciate. Yeah, I was about to say yes. I was like, I feel like it's sentimental. I need to not say something generic.
If you said yes, I would have just laughed it off. It was honestly a good.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that's good. I love you guys. I just love it when we have our podcast. I know we talk about a serious thing, but I think these sorts of just chill out podcasts once in a while does it?
Mm-hmm. It sure does. I can stream Elden Ring later in the server, but I think we should wrap up the stream sooner or later.
Well, we can go up another 10 minutes. We'll be fine. I'm happy.
Yes.
I'm happy with having a longer stream if you guys are good. But if you want to end up in like 10, 20 minutes, I'm cool with that.
Well, I mean, I also have to do stuff and such.
Right.
So
okay, fair enough. I think we can. I think then we can end it tonight. I appreciate everything for the chat. It was another quiet chat. I appreciate just talking with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway, I appreciate everything for you guys, and I hope to see you again, hopefully soon, about our podcasts.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Until then, I would like to thank everybody. Check out the links in the description as usual, because my YouTube channel and their links to their Twitter as well as YouTube's are also down below. Just a reminder: Darc does voice acting, and Knight does Souls-like recreations of movesets.
I did a Traveler moveset. That was harder than I thought it was going to be.
And I also do reviews down below, but then again, you should know my channel and Reddit reads. So I appreciate everybody who joined the stream, also who's going to watch afterwards, because people do enjoy listening to podcasts in the background. So thank you everybody for the stream, and may the good blood guide your way.
And fear the old blood.